I find, at least most people, if you need to get the conversation going, you need to first define how they think, because if you want to communicate best with them, one needs to understand: are they a theoretical, or are they somebody who really needs a roadmap? But for many people, they have some difficulty in understanding the value of the supply chain. So in many cases, one has to map it out for them physically, map it out on paper, give them a diagram to follow. Once you start to do that, it's a matter of you can start to demonstrate the impact of if-then scenarios, and that helps them to understand. And that would be, both in terms of whether you use that diagram working forward with your customer or backward with your supplier. But you need to, again, because it's communication based, one needs to really have a better understanding of the people with whom you're speaking. How do they think? How do they process information? When you say something is critical, is it? Oh yeah, I hear that. Yeah, yeah. It's because it's the nutritional ingredients realm is ever changing, and again, I work within. I do a lot of work even within the National Institute of Health on the ingredients that will be presented 8 years from now, and then work with companies on developing the processes under which these are going to be actually manufactured, as well as working with companies who say, if I want to use this ingredient, how would I integrate it in my manufacturing methodology? So I have a tendency to bridge all those gaps in there and work with all those groups, and that's why I have a tendency to see both the abilities and the demands of each of those elements. So I have a tendency in problem solving is to make sure that one link in that chain doesn't solve a problem at the expense of all the others. I mean, I've worked in various functions of strategy within large companies, large multinational global companies. I've done strategies and other global roles and such, and I've been doing the consulting end of it for 3 years, which is really just putting together that holistic vision with key clients. And some of those are very small startups. Some of those are large multi-billion, multinational companies. But it's the unique perspective of that holistic approach which usually gets them. That's kind of why people come to me, is they need that overview, so that they're not. I think the biggest, that's no problem. I think one of the biggest issues I'm seeing from all links of the chain is that lack of communication. That when a company is starting to be faced with a market adversity, there are some companies who open up and reach forward and backward, both into their customers and supply chain, and say, what can we do together to make it better? And those are the companies who seem to be doing very well, are very profitable, and they found a way to almost strengthen that relationship they have with supply and with customer. The customers who are feeling under pressure and don't know how to reach out are the ones who are not communicating and are causing themselves and others incredible problems. And those are the ones that I'm also seeing are where people come to me and say, I've tried working with them. We got to get rid of them. They just don't get it. My first response is, well, let's try and dissect that first, because there's always two sides to an issue. But ultimately, I find as a root cause, you get back with them and they say, yeah, well, we've been having some problems with our suppliers. So we've been trying to do the hat dance around a particular issue. Well, instead of just tackling it, they want to hide from it. And that is very readily perceived by their customers. And then their customers start to have a lack of trust. I mean, this whole supply chain management is not like communication, but it's trust. You can communicate all you want, but if you don't trust what you're hearing, you don't really want to work with that group for very long, because that lack of trust is huge risk. That's probably one of the greatest risks at all. If I don't trust someone as a supplier, I can't afford to do business with them. So it's the lack of communication based on adversity, which plants those seeds, and very quickly they usually blossom into giant issues. A problem is always an opportunity. If you choose to make it, it's an opportunity to learn and to grow closer to your clients and your suppliers.